Thanks.
All right, Taylor Robert, you guys are watching the Weekly Braaappp, and I'm peacing out. Beer.
Perfect.
Test.
Nice.
Weekly Braaappp.
Wicked Braaappp.
Welcome to the Weekly Braaappp.
Your place to go for local, national, and regional off-road racing news. We got news from all over the country. GNCCs,
Western Hare Scramble.
National Hare Hound,
WORCS Series.
and we may even go on the other side of the ocean and talk about World Enduro Championships.
How about some BAJA action?
Yeah, we pretty much do it all.
Yeehaw!
We also give away prizes
We got product reviews.
and trivia questions. So sit back and enjoy the show.
Yeehaw!
All right, welcome back to the show, everybody. We got probably our coolest guest we've ever had on, the WORCS Series points leader, and from what I can tell, pretty awesome guy, Taylor Robert. Taylor, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it. So, first question, real quick: how many times have people called you Taylor Roberts?
Well, probably like 10 times a week since I was born.
Everyone just assumes
It's a combination of Taylor Roberts, Tyler Robert, or Robert Taylor.
Perfect. The curse of having two first names.
Oh yeah.
Right on. Yeah, I was kind of noticing because on the I follow the Twitter updates from I think it was Off Road Journal when they were doing Twitter updates of the race, and they'd say, "Oh, and Robert's in the lead," and I was like, "How these guys are from this area? How do they not know this guy's name is not Roberts?" But
Yeah, it's funny because I know the guys from Off Road Journal pretty good, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with Andrew Campo. He's kind of the one that started that, and he actually built my website too. So I always give him crap when he messes it up. And Megan, the one that edits, like I've known Megan since 2006 when she started doing the work stuff. So it's funny because I think people just do it out of habit because they're not used to hearing Robert as a last name. So
Yeah.
very good. So tell us how your year's been going so far. I know you've had a couple problems, well, a problem at one of the races, but you're still in the points lead, which is pretty awesome.
yeah, it's going good. I mean, 3 rounds in, and we got seven rounds left, which is really 14 races because each day counts as separate points. So to be tied for first 3 rounds in is good, and now I just want to start building a points gap, which is kind of what I wanted to do from the first round, and I felt like I was going that direction before I had the bike problems. But no, I'm pretty pumped on how it's going, and I just want to keep building and keep getting those race wins, and hopefully build up a pretty good gap. I hate going into the last round, like have to win, like first or second determines the race, which I know is good for the fans, but as a rider, it's really stressful. So I want to go into the last race like really relaxed.
So that means the next couple rounds you're gonna be pushing pretty good to stay up there on top of the box.
Yeah, well, these next 2 rounds are come pretty natural to me. The Havasu one, I love that track, and the rougher it gets, the better I ride it. And last year I went 1-1 there, and then the next round after that is Speed World Arizona, which is my home track. So feeling pretty good about that one too.
I want to know what your secret is, man. Because it seems like the gnarlier it gets, the faster you go.
Well, my real secret is I never ride moto.
Really?
Everybody thinks that WORCS is like you got to ride moto, and I ride the moto track at most once a month, and I don't like going there. I mean, it has a lot to do with the tracks in Arizona aren't that great, especially on practice days. But yeah, I just got like me and my buddies. One of my real good buddies, Eric Bailey, he lives like a mile down the road from me. We go out and we build tracks in the desert, and then we just ride them and invite everybody out that we want to ride them until they get rough and nasty, and just keep riding them.
That's pretty funny that you were saying that because, I've heard in interviews from a lot of the GNCC guys that that's all they ride is moto, and they don't ride any woods. So that's kind of a funny, you'd think it might be opposite, that you'd be doing all moto, they'd be doing all woods, but that's pretty cool to hear that all your training is mostly done off-road.
Yeah, I mean, the training or the practice that I can get in the off-road is like far superior than the moto track, at least here, because our moto tracks don't get rough during practice days because we just don't we don't have as many riders going out as you do in California. So I can go out to one of my practice tracks, especially after it rains. I can go out and build a track that'll have deeper ruts and 5 laps that a moto track will have in all night of practice or whatever. So, and we just, after you ride those tracks for years, my trainer Steve Hatch, I still ride a couple of his tracks that he made out my back. He used to live a mile down the road from me too, and he built tracks out in the desert. So I've been riding tracks that he built back in the late '90s, and they're super rough, and they're just really good practice compared to the moto tracks.
Hey, there's a picture that I see on Facebook, or I saw it somewhere. You're jumping. It's like you're jumping over this wall.
Yeah.
What's that all about? Where is that? It's like in this, I don't know, like housing development or something. You're just like launching over this big old 8-foot wall or something.
Yeah, it's it's at my dad's house. I just moved back in with my parents because I sold my house, but it is right. My dad has a vacant 2-acre lot right next to his house that he has all block walled in, and I used to have a track there until we had to tear it down due to some neighbor issues. But one day, me and my buddy were messing around on the Bobcat, and he's like, "Hey, you should like build a wall jump." And what he was thinking is build a lip over the wall so you can like jump out into the desert. And what I was thinking is build like a spine like you would see on in a BMX park.
Yeah.
And we actually ended up building that, but we made it gnarly because the wall is about 7 feet tall, and there's only dirt about 4.5 feet up to it on both sides. So you have to hit it, and it's like a vert, and then you come back down, you wheel tap it, and go down the other side.
I always thought, like, can I actually do that? Like, I think I'm a halfway decent rider. Like, probably 98% of the rest of the world thinks they're halfway decent. But I'm thinking I would just wad myself up like crazy on this wall.
Yeah, it was really intimidating for me the first time I hit it because I didn't have anybody to watch do it. So I was just like, well, I hope this goes well. And I did it all right, and the key I found is you actually have to hit it slower than you think. But I've had quite a few buddies hit it that have either, Ryan Sipes is a really good buddy of mine, and the first time he hit it, he was on a borrowed bike, and he hit it and stalled it as soon as he hit the wall, but he had the speed. So when he came back down, he had no motor to like wheel tap and carry the front end off.
Yeah.
So he slammed the front end down and rode the front end for like 15 feet off, like past the wall.
Wow, that's impressive.
That's very impressive. Well, that's funny. That's funny you mentioned Ryan, because I'm sure like most people who are watching this, they've seen Moto 3, and is that the same wall, by the way, that you're talking about that you and Destry were jumping over?
Yeah, that's it.
So I thought it was pretty cool that Ryan talked about how training for him is. It sounds like he also does a lot of off-road type stuff, just trying to keep riding fun basically, and enhances basically his general skills and his fundamentals. Yeah,
it's funny because I know quite a few of the motocross, supercross guys, and I grew up racing moto. I can't tell you how many races I did with Dean Wilson on 85s, but so I know a lot of those guys, and then Ryan and I have really started hanging out the last couple of years because we have the same trainer, and it's cool because he'll ride anything. He's one of those guys that realizes that the more you ride, like the better your skills are all around, and he we'll go out and he'll just do the gnarliest stuff that like Destry and I'll do, and it gets pretty crazy. But he's not one of those moto guys that just hates the off-road and thinks it's stupid. So it's pretty cool to see a guy that is at his level coming out and riding off-road.
Yeah,
for sure, man.
Have you thought about racing like the Hare Hounds or anything like that, like Destry does?
I think they'd be cool, except for like, I don't like not being able to see, and Destry always tells me the bombs are so dangerous if you don't get the whole shot.
Yeah.
I'm the exact same way. If I can't see, I can't go fast. I've got friends that'll pin it through the dust, but I don't know. My producer's calling me a chicken, but okay, you can call me what you want, but I do not like going fast if I can't see. So I'm with you on that.
Well, yeah, and it's like it's one thing to have a dusty WORCS track because you know the track, like you can kind of guess it. But the desert courses, you don't know like the back of your hand like you would a moto track or something. So I think it's even sketchier. You're just pinning it and like going through bushes, and you're like, I hope there's not a cactus or a rock in this one.
Yeah.
So speaking of WORCS, they made a format change a couple years or last year to the 2 moto 1 hour format away from the 2 hour Sunday deal. So what's your opinion on that? I mean, if you could choose, which one would you do?
I personally like how it is now. They actually kind of tweaked it a little bit this year. Instead of it's 1 hour plus 1 lap on Saturday and just an hour and a half on Sunday, which depending on the track, it equals out to only be like a lap more because of the time. But I like it better that way. I think it makes for better racing. The racing is so much tighter now than it was when it was just a 2 hour race. I mean, you were having guys that were winning by 2-3 minutes when it was a 2 hour race, and now I don't think we've had a gap over a minute for the lead, and a lot of times it'll come down to who has a faster pit stop, which really makes the racing good, and we can push harder, and I like it because not really anybody's pacing either. Everybody's just going out there and pinning it, whereas in the 2 hour race you got this like dead area in the middle of the race where everybody kind of backs it down.
Yeah. So Gary Sutherland jumped to a Cowie.
Yeah.
He's done a pretty good job. I mean, last round he did an excellent job.
Yeah, Gary's been doing good. I've known Gary since 2006 also, when he moved out to Arizona. And I'm impressed from where he was to where he's at now. He's come a long ways, especially with having some bad luck and not being on the best equipment to getting a podium at Crim. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's cool when you see guys that have been doing it for a while that, you know, when they finally break through and all of a sudden it starts coming a lot easier to them. So I think that'll be cool for Gary and people like that. It's just kind of funny how that works. How guys break through and then all of a sudden they're constantly up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the biggest things I've noticed with my success is once I had the confidence and I knew I could be up there, it came that much easier than guessing every weekend whether you thought you were going to be up there or not.
So you train with Steve Hatch. Like, what is a regular day? What's a regular week for you?
Well, over the years, I've kind of tweaked my training with Steve. I used to do a ton with him. He used to live within walking distance of my house, and since I was 7 years old, I would walk over there and hang out with him and his son, and just kind of do what kids do. And then when I turned like 15, I started doing the WORCS series, and I was still doing moto, amateur moto, and the WORCS series at the same time. And I really started training with Steve a lot. And I've trained with him since that, so that was like 2005. This will be 7 years now. And Steve is really still helping me with my mental a lot, and anytime I need help, he's there to help me. But now, I usually like 3 or 4 times a week I'll go ride in the desert with usually my buddy Eric Bailey, who lives right down the street, and he's number 1 in the AMRA series, which is the local Arizona desert racing series, and then he also does some GNCCs, and we'll go out and pound. We usually like to mix it up between pounding motos and doing sprint laps or just skills.
Yeah.
And then we've also, the last year and a half or so, I've been riding a lot of trials. We'll try to get out and ride our trials bike once a week, and it's pretty cool because we can ride that right from our house too and just have an ultimate trials playground.
Yeah.
And there's a guy named Mike Dam who used to be a pro trials rider that lives a mile down the street. Also, we got this nice little block of riders out here. We, myself, Eric Bailey, Mike Dam, and Alan Stillwell, who does Stillwell Performance, we all live within a mile of each other. And we all just go out and ride. And then other than that, I mountain bike. I try to get out there once a week. I haven't been doing a lot of mountain biking lately because I've been hitting the gym harder, and I've been doing CrossFit training, which has helped me tremendously.
Yeah. So that's cool that you got a group of guys, that you can ride with or hang out with or anything like that,
Yeah, it's awesome, and they're all cool guys, and they're all fun to hang out with. So I mean, we're all friends outside of training, and then we'll just go train together and mess around with each other and try to take each other out. So
keep you motivated.
What's that?
It just keeps you motivated.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, the key is obviously to have fun, because that's why we'll all do this, is because it's fun. Yeah. So if you can train and have fun at the same time, it doesn't get any better than that.
Nice.
Definitely. You know, it's funny you're mentioning the trials riding, because I keep up with DS3 Braapp's stuff on Twitter, and he always talks about how you go out and you just beat him up. Like, he said he smashed his hand, and then like, breaking stuff, and he said, oh yeah, we're going to go out for a nice easy trials ride, and then they end up doing stuff that's, you guys just do stuff that's completely out of this world, and he gets all freaked out.
Well, it's funny because DS3 and I are obviously pretty comparable on a dirt bike, and he actually got a trials bike before I did, but he can't ride his trials bike from his house, where I can, and I go out and do it like once a week. So he'll come out every once in a while, and I've gotten quite a bit better over the last year, and he'll try and do some of the same stuff. And this one time I remember we were just doing this like ride up, where we'd ride up and then roll back down backwards.
Yeah.
And he came back down backwards and like hit his back wheel, and his hand came off, and his bike just shot up this rock, did like a backflip 60, and it was gnarly. And then we for a while there, when we were getting some rain, we were doing night rides. We'd put our mountain bike lights on our handlebars and go cruise the trails at night. And DS3 about ripped his pinky off on this rock one night.
Oh wow!
Oh, that's brutal, man.
Yeah.
So as far as this year is concerned, you know, I know last year or 2 years ago you did the ISDE in Mexico, and it seemed like that went pretty well for you for being your first time going and doing something like that. So is there any chance we could see you at the 6 days again?
Yes, there is. Kurt has been talking to me and everybody, really trying to get a really good team put together this year. And we want to go over there and do really well. It's in Germany this year, so I have planned to do it, and I really want to. I liked it in Mexico. I mean, it was a little sketchy, but I like the atmosphere and the type of racing. I think I can do pretty good at it. Once I got the hang of it, I started doing really well, and it was funny because I went down there and nobody knew who I was. And the first 2 days, I thought I sucked. I was getting like 15th in my class and stuff like that. But by the fourth day, I got fourth in the 450 class, and I won a test or two. And all the Europeans were like, this guy's cheating. Who's this? They were talking to the American team manager. It was like, there's no way this guy's winning tests. We've never heard of him. Who is this young American? And it was just funny because they obviously don't follow WORCS racing over in Europe, but it's cool. And I like going over there because those guys are unreal at that type of racing. So I want to be able to get better at that. And I don't know, see where it goes, because it'd be cool to do that type of stuff someday too.
Yeah,
that's definitely cool. I've kind of noticed now that the WORCS series has kind of picked up and developed into a real powerhouse series. That it's basically small motocrosses over there for 6 minutes at a time, and you guys are really good at sprinting. So you guys are kind of built for that type of racing if you're not doing work stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, those sprints, like, they get pretty intense, and the hardest part for me was never really that was like the second Enduro I've ever done, and being able to just, you have to read the terrain, but also memorizing the track from when you walked it. I mean, we only walked it once, and then you go and race it at full race pace, so that was hard. But like once I started getting the hang of it, it came a lot easier. So I think it's just an experience thing, but I definitely want to work on that and be able to do what Kurt does over there and go over there and win a class.
Yeah,
for sure. So that's straight to the trophy team then? You're not messing around with the junior stuff anymore, hopefully?
Yeah, from what Kurt's been telling me, he wants to put me on the trophy team and just kind of take all the top riders from the West Coast and some of the top riders from the East Coast and create like a super team and go over there and do some work.
It's time for a championship in the ISDEs. First place.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I mean, I think we can do it. We just need some the thing that sucks is we don't have any support to do it. But if we get some support and we get the right group of guys to do it, I think we have a shot at least challenging those guys.
Yeah.
Who's helping you out this year? Who would you like to thank? I mean, I know you guys have your team sponsors, but what about what's the whole program look like?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Monster Energy Kawasaki crew is the head. Can't do it without them. But really, the people that surround me are what makes my program what it is. My family, my mom and dad. They've been behind me since I was 4 years old when I did my first race, and then I don't know if you guys have seen the WORCS videos lately, but they're a lot better this year. And my brother is actually doing the WORCS videos, and he's always been behind my racing too. He used to race, but kind of just wasn't his thing, and got into film, and now he's creates some really cool videos.
Yeah.
So whole family, and then the guys that I train with, Eric Bailey and Mike Dam and Steve Hatch, everybody that helps me out there, and all my personal sponsors, Focus Apparel, DVS, Skull Candy, Alpine Stars, Thor, Shoei, everybody that's been helping me out. It's been pretty awesome.
So is your brother younger than you or older than you?
He's younger than me. He's 20, so not really that much younger than me. He's only 16 months younger.
So do you ever threaten to beat him up if he doesn't put more footage of you in the videos?
No, he's pretty good about it. I know people will probably say like some of his videos are biased, but he mixes it up, and hopefully if I keep winning, they can't say the videos are biased.
Yeah,
There we go, man. Cool.
Has he ever beat you in a race?
I don't think he has.
Right on, man. Well, hey, we really appreciate you taking the time with us. I think people will appreciate what you have to say, and it's pretty cool what you're doing right now.
Yeah, thank you guys. It was fun.
Definitely. Well, I guess we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back with more from the Weekly Braaappp.